Welcome everybody to episode 7 of Behind Barz with myself, Joe Delfino, Marco Sandoval. And today we've got two guests. We're going to take a phone call first from entertainment attorney Travis Life, where we'll talk to him about a lot of stuff that a lot of artists have no idea about, is contracts and publishing, copyright law, stuff like that you definitely want to get a grasp on. And then we have our guest here, Kyle Ritter. We'll dive more with him here. We want to get Travis on the phone here. He's got some stuff to get going here. So let's get right to it. You got anything you want to say while I get Travis here on the phone?
Yeah. So people have been asking about the episode on YouTube. That will be up. So just keep an eye out for that. Military Studios, please follow, subscribe, hit that button, hit that link, and that little bell to make sure that every time we go live or we have some new content that you guys are paying attention. Episode 7 already, Joe. I feel like you just started yesterday. But we've been bringing jam-packed things for you guys, so please stay tuned for everything else that we're bringing today. I need you guys to pay close attention as we have two great people here today that we'll learn more about here shortly.
Cool. So without further ado, let me get Travis on the line here. Hello?
Hey, Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Loud and clear, we hear you.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Nice.
All right, man. So, well, before we start here, we've got my co-host Marco Sandoval here, as well as Kyle Ritter, who's another engineer here. I know you're not in the room with us, but just to let you know who's online here with you. So
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, man. And thank you for jumping on with us tonight.
Yeah. Happy to help.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, if we want to get going, I mean, if you want to just introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, what you do, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Travis Life. I'm an entertainment attorney here in Chicago. I work at a firm called Swanson Martin and Bell, and I've been practicing in this industry for just about 20 years. I do music, film, television, theater, a little bit of literature, although I haven't done it in a while. But that's my gig.
Nice, man. So what? First question: what made you want to get into entertainment law versus all the other avenues of law?
So I come from a long line of lawyers. I'm a fifth generation lawyer. Wow. So there's too many of us. It's a lot of arguing and a lot of people that think they're too smart. So I had no desire to be in law whatsoever when I was growing up. It's the exact opposite of what I wanted to be. I thought I was going to be an actor. Nice. And I went through undergrad. I started with the theater arts scholarship. And then I about midway through, I had a realization that it's going to be tough to pay the bills doing this, man. I got to figure something else out and figure something where I can survive. And being around all these lawyers and talking, I figured, well, maybe I can find something in the legal field. So I went to law school with the goal of working in the entertainment business in some respects. And while I was there, I got connected with an organization in Chicago called Lawyers for the Creative Arts. I interned there while I was in law school, and that basically kind of just pushed my career in this direction of working with artists and businesses that are in the arts. Nice.
So if you can give some of us, our listeners and whatnot, a little bit more of an idea of what you like, what on a daily basis, like what do you deal with? What do you do when it comes to with music and artists, if you can?
Yeah. So it varies from day to day. There's not really many days that are the same. But what will happen is an artist or a business will call me up. They have either some legal concerns, they have a contract, they have a new project, or they have something that's starting to generate some income and they want to make sure that they're protected. So I'll sit down with them. We'll kind of go over different aspects of either the deal or the work that they're creating on, how we can protect it and how we can exploit it. So I'll sit down and we'll talk about their intellectual property, their copyrights and trademarks, and how we can protect that. or we'll go through any contracts that are in front of them, or if they need to draft up any contracts, we'll kind of go through different scenarios of what they will need for their specific needs. And then we'll just follow through whenever the artist needs more help or the business needs more help. We'll jump in and provide, whatever help that we can.
Okay.
So I had a question, Travis, this is Marcos. So when you said that people come up to you when they have a group or a project or something that they're dealing that they want to protect, do you have a certain limit, or is there supposed to be some sort of work under their belt when it comes to music that they should have when they come approach you, or it doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter to me at all. It can be a brand new artist that's still writing. It can be someone that's got some stuff that's out there that they're trying to push harder or push in a different direction. It really doesn't matter. I've talked with people in all phases of their career.
Have you caught yourself fighting or defending something? Like when it comes to copyright, I know with music nowadays there's a lot of sampling and that goes on, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love samples. But when you recreate something, I know that there's some elements that you can keep and how many seconds and, all the jargon that goes with that. Have you come down with a case where there's an artist that release content and they have to go back and either take it down because of this, or have you fought a case like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We've had a lot of issues with sampling over my career. Probably one of our biggest cases last year had to do with sampling. We had an artist that had the beat and background melody that was sold to a big name artist, but unbeknownst to the big name artist, we'll just call him a producer. The producer had sampled somebody else's music and failed to license it. So that caused a big issue, and we had to do a lot of backtracking and resolve that. But yeah, that happens all the time. But I do want to, one thing that you mentioned there, Marcos, that I think is a good point is there's a misconception about timing, that you can have a certain number of seconds of a sampling without getting a license for it. That's an urban myth. Don't be thinking that you can have like 6 seconds of a piece of music or something and get away with it without licensing it. If it's recognizable, you need to license it.
And that happened with Bismarcky, right? That's when that law passed. Like, I believe is when that passed, was like in the 90s with Bismarcky, right?
Yeah, it was actually it's actually the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys had looped a believe it or not, there was a jazz flutist who had a recording that they looped. So the Beastie Boys, how they have that background kind of flute sound that does the escalating notes. Yeah. It goes do-do-do-do-do, and then they loop it over and over again. Well, the Beastie Boys, and if you look back at Beastie Boys, I don't know if you guys are fans, but like Paul's Boutique, they licensed hardly nothing. And if they would have licensed that today, as they should have done back then, that would have been like a $10 million album. I mean, there was just sampling all over the place. Yeah. But what the Beastie Boys there is, they licensed the recording, but they failed to license the composition from the songwriter. So the songwriter went after the Beastie Boys, and what the judge said is that there are 6 seconds, and because of the number of notes that were involved in those 3 seconds, that there was really no harm to the jazz flutist. So the Beastie Boys got away with it, and because of that, that kind of generated this myth of you can use 6 seconds of any song without a license. But that's not the case.
Mythbusters. We got it.
Great. No, that's good, because I know I've heard a lot of people say that, and I know when I was in school, they told us that too in my music business class, that no seconds are
send them an email, tell them no more. Don't teach that.
So let me ask you this, because again, this is something that comes up a lot with a lot of clients of mine and whatnot. The poor man's copyright, is that legit?
No.
Right. People would mail it to themselves, so it's stamped, dated. The only 100, correct me if I'm wrong, the only 100% guaranteed way is by actually getting it copywritten. Is that correct?
Well, yes. I mean, so
in a
copyright's kind of
court,
funny.
in a court of law, right?
Well, it's kind of funny. So copyright is created the moment that you create an original work and you affix it to a tangible medium, right? So once you do that, you don't have to sign a paper. You don't have to file anything. You've created the copyright. But if you have to sue somebody and you want to get in federal court and you want to get some extra protections off of the Copyright Act, you got to file that thing with the Copyright Office, with the Library of Congress. Otherwise, you're missing out on a whole range of damages that aren't available to you otherwise. So the copyright exists from the moment you create the work. It's just created. It just exists.
Right.
But to get that protection, you are 100% right, man. You got to file that thing, and it's easy to do. It's easy to do. You just go online, pay the fee, and upload the music. It's super easy.
Right. And so to give you a scenario, right? I make a song, I write the lyrics, I don't copyright it. It ends up on Jay-Z's lap on his next album. I hear my song, right? It's not copywritten. Now I'm going to court. It's basically how much money can I afford to fight Jay-Z, right?
Yes.
In that battle, right?
I mean,
how much can I spend $150,000 on attorney fees to fight Jay-Z to prove this is mine, right?
Yeah. I mean, the big advantage of having your federal registration is that one of the damages that you can get is attorney's fees. And if you have that federal registration, then you can ask for attorney's fees when you're successful in your lawsuit. If you don't, you're not entitled to them. So you're right. If you're pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars into a lawsuit, and if you don't have that federal registration, that money that you're spending on your lawyers and all this stuff that they do, it's gone.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's very, very important, because I know a lot of people, you know, they like you said, yes, from the minute you make it, it's copywritten. But hey, if I want to go fight Jay-Z in court, I better have that document that says, right? Because at that point they can't fight me, right? If I have that document from the federal government, that there's no way they can win the case, correct?
Well, they can fight you. I mean, there's different avenues.
Right.
Yeah,
but I've got a better chance.
Exactly.
That. Yeah.
You're on much stronger ground than you would be without having it. Yeah.
So Travis, I have a question for our listeners that are listening here. So let's just take a scenario. Do you have the Travis Life do list? Let's say we're going to start with a composition, you know, music, lyrics, going to the engineer, all of that, putting up. Is there like steps? These are the easy steps that you can do for each song that you release that you recommend?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would, after you can file your copyright in a couple different stages. You can file for your composition. So after you've written it, you can file your copyright then. If you are not writing it and you're just recording, then once you record it, you can file your copyright then, and you already have it. So it's already in your back pocket. Your music's protected. You're afforded all the extra protections of the copyright.
And you're speaking between the difference between a Form PA and a Form SR. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So an SR.
So
right.
Well, I'll let you go. But in the other question, in a Form SR, that still gives you protection of lyrics, correctly? Because with the Form SR, you're copywriting the sound recording. Do you still have protection of those lyrics if you just fill out a Form SR?
Yes.
Okay.
So what you do when you fill out the Form SR, you also claim any of the underlying rights.
So composition and the underlying rights
would be the composition.
Okay.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah, I wanted to clarify that too, because so basically the only time you would need a Form PA if you're maybe a songwriter, you're not recording the songs, but you're trying to pitch these songs to Beyonce. I don't know why I'm on Beyonce and Jay-Z today, but yeah, if I'm trying to pitch songs to Beyonce, right, I didn't record the songs. I want to copyright my lyrics with the Form PA, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just called, like, for legal terms, it's called a composition. So your lyrics, your melody, any of the music that's like, technically it's not sheet music, but when you get your mind's eye on it, you think of it as sheet music, basically. So
would beat makers? So if I'm a beat maker and I'm pitching beats, again, I'm not necessarily trying to sell, or I'm pitching beats. Would that could I copyright my beats, and would I need a PA or SR?
So I don't know how you could write your music with beats. I mean, I guess you technically could.
Okay, unless it was transcribed.
I guess you technically could if you transcribed it, but most likely I would guess that you're filing a sound recording.
Okay.
Copyright for it.
Okay, so your advice, if I'm pitching beats to people before I'm sending beats to any artist or anything like that, I would want to have my beats copywritten, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you ever experienced or dealt with any cases like that where a guy called you and said, "Hey, Travis, this guy stole my beat. Let's go get him"?
Well, I've had I'll give you a funny story of an interesting scenario. So I represented this beat maker, and he signed a licensing deal with one of those online distributors. Like we're all familiar with them, right? So, and in this licensing deal, they would shop out his beats to performers. And he had a performer who licensed the beat, didn't buy it, so they don't own it. They just licensed it for his recording. That performer then took the recording that included the beat and went out and licensed it to an advertising company, right? Well, when the advertising company took that music and they inserted it into the commercial, they removed the lyrics. They removed the vocals. So everything that was left was the beats. And that was in violation of the license that the beat maker had given to the performer to use the beats. So essentially at that time, the advertising company had just sidestepped the beat maker to use his beats in the commercial. So we had to reach out, talk to the performer, talk to the advertising agency, and figure out that deal so that the beat maker wasn't high and dry.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, this is Kyle. I see on YouTube Timberland, he has he goes live and you could submit beats, and like he gets like hundreds per episode.
No doubt.
And I'm always like, I want to submit something, but then I'm like, he don't need my ideas anyways.
Yeah.
You never know.
But I think they run into that there a lot because a lot of people, they comment on there about that, about should I send this in or, because everybody can hear it because he plays it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one question here. Now that social media has fallen into the mix, and I'm pretty sure with your 20 years of experience, this is a new norm. You know, everybody posting stuff up, trying to get famous, releasing music, releasing content. And again, not either submitting the right forms to protect it. Do you recommend before you post anything on social media to have everything, your T's and I's dotted?
Yeah, I mean, ideally I would, yeah. I mean, if you're putting your stuff out there, I think ideally you should have your team look at it, make sure that everything's being used. I think one kind of nuance with social media that you and your team should be aware of is just the terms that you're agreeing to as a user on social media. So you want to make sure that you kind of go through those terms of use and see what the platform can do with your music once it's up there. Typically they don't do anything, but there's been cases with, not with musicians, but with photographers that's come to issue, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens to music in the not so distant future. So I think, musicians going to put their stuff up, a musical artist is going to put their stuff up on social media or another platform to make sure they know what the rules of that platform is and what they can and cannot do with their music once it's posted up there.
Yeah, because I've heard, like, for example, Facebook, this whole thing with Facebook now and privacy, keep on changing the terms, and like people not reading the fine print. People were coming across, like, for example, at if they're doing a podcast or even a service for a church, that you play music in the background and you don't own the rights to that. You're like replicating or playing it. You have to write in the comments, I don't own rights to this. And there was also talks that Facebook literally owns everything you post up there. So that was the example that I was trying to give with Facebook.
Cool. Yeah, I know, Travis, you gotta get out of here shortly. Any closing remarks that you got for any artists out there?
I mean, I think my pearls of wisdom, for whatever it's worth, and sometimes it's not worth very much, but I would just say, work on your craft, to a young artist, be the best artist you can be, man, because that's the most important thing. And then get a good team around you. Get a good business team. Get a good creative team. Get a good producer, mixer, engineer, musicians on your creative team, and on your business side, get a good manager, accountant, lawyer, whatever helps you to make you secure so you can focus on your art and push your stuff out there.
And hire you before they get a contract, right?
Yes.
and hire me before you get a contract. That's right.
All right, Travis, I know you got to go, man, but we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah,
this is very valuable information. Thank you so much.
You got it, guys. Be safe, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, cool. So yeah, definitely hopefully that opened up, some people's eyes to some stuff in terms of copyrights and sampling and even just protecting your stuff before you're sending it out. You know, if you're a songwriter, a beat maker, before you send stuff out, make sure you take care of it on the legal end. Especially copywriting is not, like you said, it's not expensive. It's $35 a song.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, before you send beats to Drake Timberland, yeah, make sure you're protecting yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give him a call.
Yeah, it's crazy. All these myths, all these things that we heard that we thought were real and they're not real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good that he was on. Shout out again to
Travis Life. Yeah.
Entertainment attorney.
Yes. And if anybody is looking for an entertainment attorney, we'll put the link obviously in the once we release this on YouTube. Put the links to Travis if anybody's looking for it, or you can contact me, message me. I can connect you with Travis here. But yeah, definitely, again, before signing anything, before doing anything like that, it's worth it to pay the money to hire an attorney to know what you're signing.
Yeah.
Because if you guys again watched the episode with Gemstones, where he was talking about he didn't know what he was signing. They just showed him all this money, and he's like, yeah, where do I sign? Fortunately for him, he was able to get out of that without litigation, but it could have gotten ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So save yourself the hassle. Spend the $500 or whatever it'll be for a few hours for somebody to go over your paperwork.
Oh, all right.
So I know we deal a lot with the getting beats off of YouTube.
Yeah,
getting the MP3 burn off of YouTube.
Yeah, come make sure you're up a little. Yeah. Yeah. So now we got our second guest here, Kyle Ritter. I'll let him introduce himself, and he'll do a better job at that than I will. So go ahead, let us know about you, what you do, where you work.
All right. Yeah, I'm Kyle Ritter, and I work at DLS Studio. It's in Stone Park, right next to Melrose Park there. Do engineering, producing, editing, mixing, mastering, all that. Been doing it seriously for about 10 years or so.
Nice.
So,
Kyle, where can they find you? Are you on social media? Do you have a website?
yeah, you can Facebook or Instagram, Kyle Ritter Audio. You can find me on there, and website's still in the works, but
Okay.
Cool. So let's
You're in the hot seat now.
Yeah, you're on the hot seat now. We're gonna throw some stuff at you.
let's go.
Well, first of all, we appreciate you coming out
Yeah.
and being here today. I know I was excited to hear that we had two guests, one on the phone and one in person.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me on here.
Definitely,
I
man.
appreciate it.
No, this is what it's about, man. Bringing people like us, the guys in the trenches.
Right.
The artists, the engineers, the producers in the trenches that that are helping. We're all helping each other try to achieve the next step up that ladder. So,
Right on.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Kyle. What got you into becoming an engineer, producer?
It was kind of by accident.
it always is. And nobody says I want to be an engineer.
Right. Yes. So I started playing guitar, and one of my friends, he was like a vocalist, and he was recording himself, and it was a little Line 6 UX2, little 2-channel, and it had came with Pod Farm for like guitar and bass tones and stuff. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, you know. So I went out and bought one. And at the time, I had an HP laptop, and I went to go use it, and it was like the only laptop where it didn't like support the drivers for this thing. So I tucked it away. And years later, I got a MacBook Pro. I'm like, you know what? I want to see if this thing works. So I plugged it in, and it worked, of course. And then I started recording the guitar, and that's how it happened. Where I was like, wow, you know, I can take my guitar and I can see it, the audio form on there, and then I can manipulate it and create a song. And then from there it was, you know, capturing drums and everything else. And that was just, you know, now it's a sickness now, you know.
It is.
And it was really addicting. And, you know, just being able to get your ideas out, you know, and again, just being able to, that's the main thing. Like, I think, like, in general, like, mixing is my favorite part of the process, because that's when it becomes, you know, what it was like meant to be, you know, from its raw form to its finished product.
Right.
And that's my favorite part.
Nice.
For sure. What about you, Joe?
Yeah. No, everybody knows mixing's my favorite part. Yeah. I can mix records till the day I die.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's what I always say. Like, I'll never retire from mixing. You know, I plan to retire from owning a business because I'm bald because of it. But I'm never gonna stop mixing records. Like,
yeah,
it's too much fun. You know, and
it's
such, you know, under the right circumstances and, you know, stuff like that. It's such, man, it's beautiful. You know, it's just, I can imagine that's what artists feel like, you know, when they write like the perfect song where it's just like totally connecting. Like, that's the feeling I get, where it's like, oh man, everything's just like coming together. And it doesn't always happen like that, right? Not every mix,
right?
But when it does, you know, it's a good feeling, right?
It's a beautiful thing too. And, you know, for them, you know, either whether they record with you or not, and they send it to you, you know, to mix it or whatever, and then they get that final product, you know, back, and their reaction, you know, most of the time, right? Yeah. Is they're like, wow, I'm blown away. And that's like the beautiful part of it. Is that whole process. But
yeah. No, that's why I love like screenshotting texts I get, and it's because to me, like, oh, you're being cocky. I'm not. Like, it literally makes me happy. Like, when somebody like is saying like, man, Joe, this is amazing. Like, it's a review. It feels good. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not sitting, hey, look at how good I am. No, I'm not.
It's like being a chef, you know.
And when you're happy, like when you get married, you want to post pictures of your wedding, like, because you're happy. Like, it's a good feeling. Like, that's the same feeling I get, is like, this is a good feeling, like, to what I can do. I'm not trying to brag or say, oh, I'm better than you. It's like, this is awesome. Like, this is the feeling that I crave. Why I love what I do.
Right. It gives you the energy to keep on going.
Yeah.
So Kyle, it's interesting because you said that you were playing the guitar, right? And you were somebody's friend's house. So were you already playing the guitar, dabbling with that for a while? Did you play any other instruments? Because I know that kind of helps you with your art form now. But
when that happened initially, I was probably playing for, I don't know, maybe like 7 years or somewhere around there, the guitar. So, now I think it's been like 20-something years I've been playing. So, but again, that I got serious into the whole like recording mixing thing probably like 10 years ago, you know. But that was definitely what sparked it. But of course, you know, I play the bass too, and then just kind of, you know, not great at it, but play the drums and stuff, and some piano a little bit. But
so did that help you? Or did it force you, I should say? Because I know you do get excited when you get that new tool. You say you started working with the MacBook. Did that force you to either start listening to new music, master your instruments a little bit more, because now people are going to be asking you questions about this? Or
honestly, I feel like I started slacking on the guitar, because what I ended up doing was practicing less and just like writing, like making, you know, trying to create a song or a riff or something, you know. So I always say that I feel like I'm like worse now than I was 10 years ago because of that. You know, I was I would say I probably have like over 3,000 ideas like like sessions of like whether it's like one riff or two riffs, and like, and this is my own personal music, and maybe like 5 completed songs out of like probably 3,000.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's held me back and getting better at the guitar. But I will say that I feel like I'm more knowledgeable. Like I'm smarter and I know more about, the guitar and like how to play it and more the technical side of things. Mm-hmm. But my skills might be a little rusty.
Yeah. So what's your favorite type of music to work on? As an engineer,
I would say,
or producer.
If I had to like narrow it down on like the whole process, recording, mixing, mastering, all the way through and all that, I would say in general, actually, anything with like a full band where I can get everything included, drums, bass, guitar, vocals. Yeah. But I really enjoy, like rock or like metal, heavy metal and stuff, because I really enjoy the technical side of the instrument.
Yeah,
being played in those genres, and it's actually pretty difficult to get when you have all those saturated tones and say like some bands have 3 guitars and it's distortion and like to get everything to come through cleanly.
Yeah,
in the mix. So I look at it as a challenge.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So that's one reason why I like that the most, I guess. But I do a lot of vocal only stuff.
Sure.
But definitely anytime I can get a full band in,
yeah,
that's something that I'm actually on this coming Sunday. I have a pretty big session. It's like 2 keyboards, horns, 3 vocalists, drummer, bass, guitar. Nice. Session. So that one's going to be fun. I think you had mentioned something about like a church band or something. That's actually what they are. So, but they're doing like some pop cover songs they're recording. So yeah, it's going to be pretty dope.
That's a whole nother thing too. Now everybody's like, there's also sampling, and then there's also recreating a body of work. Especially in a lot of church bands are doing that now, making the same song sound differently all the time. It's funny that you mentioned you have a session, and that's kind of exciting. Do you have a specific idea or way that you do things when it comes to recording? Like, is there a specific instrument that you like to lay down first when it comes to a band like that? That you have all these instruments coming in.
Yeah. So ideally, and it might go against tradition somewhat. Like I guess traditionally, a lot of engineers have gone with like say drums first, but if we back up to like pre-production, usually the way I like to do it is get either like the main writers in the band, or if they all want to come, that's fine, and kind of hash out the song. Get nothing final, just get the guitars down, the bass, and then actually just program drums for convenience and easier to alter ideas. Right, so if you're like, hey, I want to change that fill here, or we should lengthen this part, this, that, or the other. So that's part of the, the pre-pro stage, and get that all tightened up before we actually track. So then after that, usually like not too picky, but bass or guitar or guitars, and then after that, vocals, and actually drums last. And the other reason for drums being last is because a lot of times still, even though you did all that pre-pro work, something usually will change, or something, or is like, hey, after hearing this recorded, I really think I'd like to do that fill, and it's so much easier to wait to the end to do that with the drums, rather than you track the drums and it's, you could always come back, but maybe they're not set up, or whatever, everything's not set up the same, mic positions,
mic
whatever.
Placement, yeah.
So you don't have to deal with that. So that's ideally that's how I'd do it. Does it happen that way?
No.
Hardly ever.
Yeah. So when you do it that way, here's my question: do you? Because I'm more of the traditional, hey, let's lay rhythm first. So when you do it that way, do you find yourself having to like go in and like align drums a lot more to the record? Obviously, you're recording with like the the stuff you did in pre-production, right? Like the digital drums and stuff like that. But obviously, if you have a good drummer, they should have fairly good timing. But obviously, nobody's going to be perfect. But do you do a lot of like aligning with the drums? You do that?
Yeah, and that, I mean, that would, whether it was first or last, for sure. That's one of like the biggest things for the drums is, are you talking about like phase aligning or just timing?
No, just timing. Like, are you? And let me like, are you? If you are time aligning, like, are you like splitting and nudging, or are you using like, like Elastic Audio and Pro Tools, or like, what's your?
Yep. It does slightly for me depend on the genre. If it is like rock or metal or something that's more technical, you have to have everything hitting at the exact time as what should, like, say, the kick and the bass guitar and maybe a guitar note, right? So if you get into like more like whatever, like rock and roll or like maybe even like country or something, you can get away with more and be a little looser. But there's still people who will still like edit it to the grid or whatever. Yeah. But no, when it comes to drums, though, for the most part, I'm editing it pretty close to like 100% to the grid.
How are you using Elastic Audio, or you use
every song's a little different, and every like take and every part will be different. So sometimes it's just chopping it, and just actually sliding the clip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, and I just found this out like a couple of years ago. You can actually nudge the waveform within a clip in Pro Tools.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then other times Elastic Audio is just what is going to work better for that part. Especially like on big, if it was like a hit that was really late or like really early, or I'm sure you've seen where you move it and you got a huge gap.
Yeah.
And then when you drag it over, it doesn't sound right.
You hear that.
Whether
you got to drag
cymbals,
the overheads.
Yeah. So sometimes, and I'm not a big. I mean, it's like the best way to fix it, I guess, in that sense. But at the same time, you do get a lot of artifacts still doing the Elastic Audio when you stretch it that far.
Yeah.
Right.
So
it's always the drummer's fault.
Yeah.
It's always the bass's fault. That's what I learned.
Oh yeah.
Always the bass
I recently started hearing that too. They keep the rhythm, like the backbone, like, but so I would say like I'll try the Elastic Audio, when I can, and just whatever works. It's kind of like with like tuning vocals. Like for me, it's never it's not just like I don't just use Melodyne.
Right.
And I don't just use Melodyne throughout the
auto
whole song.
tune or Melodyne or Waves tune.
Whatever.
Or
Whatever. Maybe this makes this, it's too much of a format. So, or maybe if it's a timing thing, maybe I'll go with like a Melodyne. And so
cool.
It's, we all got these awesome tools, right? So I just try to use.
Yeah, I was going to follow up with that. Do you have your set of, what do you call it? Like I call it the Delfino special. I don't know what I call it for you, but like something that's always in your pocket.
Special.
Yeah, the Ritter special. Let's just say these are the top plugins that I like. You don't come in using the same thing all the time. You like come out
like
different
in terms
things depending.
Of like mixing, like
when mixing. When you look at a production as you're listening to it and you're recording it, you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use that, or do you always use the same format? In terms of your mixing,
I would say the only thing that really stays the same is, and as a whole chain and might differ as a whole chain, is like the mastering chain. If I am doing that, when I'm mixing, I'll have it on. Even if I'm sending it off for mastering, I'll still have it on. But I think I was actually thinking about this earlier today. A lot of times I'll mix a song and it's fire mix, and then I'll be like, well, can I do it with stock plugins? Challenge myself. So I'll just wipe this. I'll save it, but I'll wipe the session and just see if I can do it. Now, aside from that, you do have the plugins that whatever emulate a SSL console, or whether it's tape saturation or a harmonic, like a saturation, like like the Slate does, like the VCC stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, those are going to add flavors that like a a regular plugin, say like a Pro Q3 won't. That's clean surgical, and I think everybody though, if you ask just about anybody, that's probably going to be their answer for their favorite EQ.
Yeah,
is a Pro Q3.
At least for me, subtractive wise.
Right. First, getting in there and like surgical stuff, like and you can't beat that.
Not with the stick. Can't beat it with the stick.
So I do have go-tos, but what it comes down to for me is just like, does it serve the song?
Okay.
And I might put on that EQ that I'm like, I love that EQ. I know that EQ. Say it's like a SSL or like a Neve emulation. You can't see it, but you've gotten used to how it sounds, so you kind of know like the curves, like the EQ curves, like the bell curves and their shelves, like and how many dB they are. But then you might be sitting back listening to it and be like, you know what, this one ain't vibing, so I'm gonna pull in a different one. So I run into that a lot, and so yes and no. I have my go-to plugins.
Yeah.
Cool. So what? And I've done this before with the other engineers that I've had on. So if you're trapped on an island I'll before I did 3, I think I'll do 2 now. You have to mix a song with 2 EQs. We'll start with EQs. What 2 EQs are you bringing on this island? EQ island, we'll call it right now.
2 plug-in EQs. Or hardware, or both. Actually, it's okay because they're going to be plugins anyways. For me.
Yeah, let's just stick with plugins because I think, I did hardware with my boy Jacob, but
that's all right.
No, 2. It could be plugin or hardware.
I would definitely go Pro Q3 and probably. I've been using another one, same style recently that I'm like super in love with. I'll just have to go with that one. The SSL native EQ. So from SSL.
From SSL?
There's, okay. Yeah, that one is pretty nice, the channel strip there. If I didn't just start using that, it'd be the Plugin Alliance, the SSL J.
Nice. I like that one. The J console.
Yeah. But even if that didn't exist, then it'd probably be like the Waves. It'd be an SSL.
Okay.
It'd be like the Waves SSL. So
nice. So you're more of an SSL than a Neve guy? Or just for drums?
So it's like weird because like I track through a Neve.
Yeah.
So that's cool, and I do.
So you get that coming in, so on the way out, you want to go.
Yeah. And obviously if I get something that wasn't, then that's fine, but I don't know why. I do love the Neve, and I really love the curves on, the EQ curves on it and everything. But for mixing, I don't know why I just always go for that SSL flavor.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, because you get that color with the Neve, so you're a little more transparent with the SSL coming out.
And I do a lot with the compression in it. I know we're talking EQ, but
yeah,
we're
going compression next. It's
got the compressor in it, so that's. It's just there, and I'm like, well, and I really like it. So
yeah. So compressors then, if you're on the same island, what 2 compressors?
CLA, the Black 76.
Okay.
And man, put me on the spot. And I'm just gonna have to go. So that'll be like my individual tracks. I just have to go then with like a mastering one. So. And this is actually kind of going back to what you said. I do flip-flop my mastering compressors quite a bit. But the one I've been digging a lot again is the actual SSL bus comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, the SSL one. I think there's like they have like another name attached to that, but the SSL native.
Yeah.
Something or the other, but that thing is so sweet.
The G bus comp or
whatever. Yeah. And if it wasn't that, it would probably be the Vertigo from Brainworks.
Nice.
Plugin Alliance. That thing's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So
nice.
Yeah, that would be it. I use the CLA 76, but the black a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, that's a good one.
That. That's the OG.
Yeah. What about as far as microphones? And now obviously this depends on what we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you 2 options here.
Okay.
if you're recording a band and you only have one microphone that you can use, what would that be? If you're recording vocals and you can only have one microphone, what would that be?
Okay. So when you say the band, that's like instruments and then
Everything.
vocals,
Drums, guitar, bass, everything.
Okay.
So what one microphone would you use for the whole entire job for that, and then vocals?
Okay. So that'd be a 57
Yes.
for the band, and then probably a 67 for the vocals.
Nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
That would be it.
Nice.
Quick response.
I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah. No, those are good ones. Good ones. So
Yeah.
what are any what are some things as far as you for an engineer that we all have different ways we like to work and stuff like that, but as far as you, like, do you prefer more like, and this obviously is going to depend based on the client, but are you more like, hey, let me do my thing, or are you more like, hey, sit over my shoulder and tell me what you want?
I don't want you in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Done both, but I prefer just
Doing your thing.
I mean, even if they're like, quiet as a mouse, I'd rather. I mean, you can maybe be in the other room or something, but like you said, sitting like right behind me, I wouldn't prefer that. And like a lot of times, I'll track at the studio and bring it back and mix it at the home studio. So I kind of get to avoid that easily that way, but I still run into the whole, record, edit, mix, and master in 2 hour thing. Yeah. And, they're going to be there for that. So it's not ideal, especially even just doing all that in that short amount of time. But, too many, just, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a mental thing with me or like, I mean, of course you always get like, if, maybe self-conscious, or maybe they're like talking, or, you've probably run into all those things. So, but I definitely prefer being on my own. Yeah. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that way you can be in your comfort zone.
Be more creative.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of, somebody telling you do this, do that. And I'm sure you have your process. Like, and as far as that, like, as your process, like, are you like EQ, compress, effects, automation, or are you automation, effects, compress, EQ? Like, what's your process?
Yeah.
Like, where do you start?
For them, pretty much always, EQ, compression, and automation, and then effects. One thing I do sometimes I think is pretty cool is, sometimes I want to hear how the compression is going to affect something, before I EQ it, so to speak. So, I might like say it's a blank channel, no plugins on it yet, and I'm just starting the mix, and let's just say, whatever, it's a snare. I might drop the compressor like on the second or third or whatever, fourth slot down, dial in the EQ, and then drop in dial in the compressor, and then drop the EQ before it though. So then I'm like,
so I got mixing into it.
I do that sometimes. So I get that compression set and then EQ into the set compressor. Yeah. Sometimes I do that.
That's what I believe refer to top-down mixing, right? In terms of like, that's what I'll do a lot of times. I'll set up my buses with saturation and like a bus compressor, and I'll mix into that. Just because, for me, like I just started doing that recently too, where like maybe a couple years ago. Because before, like, I would start, on the channel, go in, then I'd add my saturation, but and I would just have to go back and adjust the EQ because now I have to add the saturation. So for me, I figure, okay, let me set up my saturation, my bus, let me do top down, start with the bus, saturation, a little bit of compression, and mix into that. Which for me, I found that saves me from having to do a lot of additive EQing because I'm mixing into the saturation, which is adding a lot of the stuff.
Saturation is a beautiful thing. It does a lot of cool things. So and that's kind of like in the end, what you're going for is like that saturation adds so many harmonics that in certain frequencies and they come out and you get
you get these full big mixes.
That's really the key in achieving that. But it's funny you said the top down thing because that's actually been something I've been battling with recently. For me, top down for me in the sense of top-down mixing, it's always been getting levels all set and panning, and pulling in my master bus chain.
Yeah, and mixing
completely.
Yeah,
and mixing into that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I have recently discovered, this is new. You know, I'm still toying with this because I've been doing top-down mixing like that for a long time.
Yeah.
What I kind of found was I was like, well, wait, you know, when I'm done with the mix, if I kill that whole master chain, it falls apart.
Right.
Like horribly.
Yeah.
Sounds like, can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Sounds like shit, you know? So I'm like, well, you know, is that, you know, what if I'm sending this off to somebody and they don't want the mastering chain on there then? You know, am I really doing this right? Am I really serving the right purpose here with everything I did before that? You know what I mean? So recently I've not been doing that.
Really?
And I don't know if it's just because now it's new to me not doing that or not, but I'm like kind of enjoying it more because it's like it's challenging me. You know, of course, you won't be as loud, but it's challenging me to make it sound as good as I can possibly get it,
right?
Without any, you know, without any help starting out.
Yeah.
So,
know.
So I see you said, I heard you say earlier that you prefer to be alone when you're doing the mix, and then you go home, your home studio, and then you work with that. And then you're saying you're changing it up of how you're recording to try to do it on your own. Does this have to do with anything you're listening to? Do you have is there a specific genre that you're listening to now, or are you trying to keep up with the times? You know how music is always evolving, or is this just with time? You're like, you know what, let me do it like this. I feel like I'm at the stage that I could experiment. Or is it a mixture of all of those things?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, if you're like asking, like, is there like, you're saying, is there like certain music that I'm listening to that
that's making you change it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, always. I mean, I'm always, you know, I mean, I'm sure you probably do this too, Joe. Like, you have reference mixes.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Check your mix, you know, whatever. And I'm like 50-50 on that. But so yeah, there's always these guys who I'm chasing. I want to beat it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when you check your mix, you know, obviously you want it to sound as good or better. And I guess not really a genre though, because in my reference mixes I have like a little of everything. You know, I'll have like Charlie Puth song on there or something to reference the low end or whatever, and like an Ariana Grande song to reference the, you know, how the vocals are laid into the mix, and then I'll have like a, you know, super heavy song to reference the, you know, the guitar balance with the bass guitar and the kick drum and whatnot. I would say like my final check would be, you know, of a similar genre. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I got different things sprinkled in there and whatnot. But,
nice.
Because I mean, you know, the low end in pop music is pretty solid. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it is.
So if you have references, do you have any specific engineers or producers that you follow, or they're like, these are the people I'm always listening to see what they release, what they're doing? One or two? Yeah.
I mean, I like all the older guys, of course. You know, like CLA and Andy Wallace, and you know, but some of their newer guys, like Michael Basquette, or I call him Elvis, and he did a lot of like Alter Bridge and like a lot of like bigger bands. Mm-hmm. Like there's another guy, Henrik Oud, I like. He's a pretty cool guy, and like smaller. I would say like in a smaller niche of music though, but they're just incredible mixers, and it's, you know, maybe they haven't been able to work with you know the band that everybody knows yet, but the mixes are just insane. So that's who I mainly just follow, those guys in their in the songs. And Grant, I might miss Grant McFarlane, I think his name is. They're out in like Pennsylvania. They work at a studio called Atrium Audio, and those guys are pretty solid. They're a team. It's like one guy does like the kind of like the instruments, I think, and the other guy does just like the vocals. Yeah. And then that's recording, and then they like mix together.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was kind of interesting.
No, it is. I like mixing. I'll do it sometimes with my other engineer, where we'll kind of both be in. He'll either ask me, "Hey, can you help me with this?" or I'll ask him, "Hey, what do you think?" Mm-hmm. And it's cool because you get 2. 4 years is better than 2.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's cool.
I feel like over time though, I'd be like, get out of here. I got this.
There's a time, we want to push him out the chair. You hear somebody, you're like, okay, get up.
Change that. I don't want to change it. I don't want to change it. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens. But I guess you probably just gotta, kind of work with each other and find a common ground and
know what you're good at. Like I know,
right.
What's his name, Jason Joshua, mix engineer. Like he has an effects engineer. Like, to me, and that's weird. Like,
yeah.
It's like, okay, like you.
Now he's making the effects, or he's mixing it, or he's
like I get from what I got out of his interview. I mean, he didn't go into detail, but he won't do the effects most of the time. Like he'll have his other engineer, and that's where he knows what he's good at. Okay, he's good at maybe compression and EQing and saturation and the panning and stuff like that, but when it comes to effects, like he'll have his other guys jump in and start throwing delays and whatever stuff like that.
Right. So more like on the mixing side of it then you're saying, or like production and mixing.
From what I got of it, the mixing side, because he was like, I'll have my effects engineer do that. I was like, wow, really?
So whose body of work goes, what name goes into mixing?
His
assistant engineer probably.
I'm sure he gets assistant engineer. Yeah,
well, I'm just saying because if they're putting the delays and all the effects afterwards,
as they would have. He's charging for a mix. I'd have an assistant.
Yeah, ideally, or even if they're just doing mix prep.
Yeah,
that's how nice that would be.
Right. Come in, sit down. I ain't got to prep nothing.
And it's all ready to go with a template uploaded. Right. Yeah. All you got to do is tweak plugins, which. That's an interesting topic. Do you do that? Do you run off a template or clean every time?
When I'm mixing?
Yeah.
Clean. Never.
I'm
unless it's somebody I've worked with. Like,
right.
If they recorded the same day and it's similar songs, and I mixed that first song, I may say, okay, let me pull this template maybe. And if I do pull a template, I'll pull a template usually of my reverbs, stuff like
effects,
that.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe my subtractive EQ, again, if it was recorded the same day on the same mic, stuff like that. But no, I'm not a fan at all of pulling templates. Like that's, and they try and sell you that all day online. Oh, get this Chris Brown template or... No,
the thing about that too is I've tried it and I don't know, I'd say for me and the people I know, majority speaking, they do the templates. What I think they kind of have it set up say in their folders, this type of this genre,
right,
and then the subgenre, they'll hear the song and be like, oh, that sounds like this song,
right.
Let me pull up the plugin template from that, which is cool.
Right.
But maybe maybe they're so busy too, just for time's sake, that might really help them out. Maybe, and that's cool.
I see. If you have a sound, when I'm working with people and they have a specific sound, that's when it's okay, let me pull, import session data or what I used before and say, and again, mostly it's effects. Okay. This guy likes this type of reverb. This guy likes this slap delay. This guy likes this, parallel compression or this, that, the other. So that's what I'll pull. But when it comes to EQ and compression and stuff like that, you can't just pull, to me at least, you can't just pull a template.
Right. And you're going to end up tweaking it anyways. So.
Right. It's going to, based on their performance, delivery, all that, it needs to be tweaked. But yeah, I'll pull, if I'm working with Marcos on 10 songs, and we're going for cohesion of a record, I'll pull in maybe the reverbs we use and stuff like that. So
absolutely,
his main vocal on one song, it doesn't, again, depending if it calls for it, it doesn't sound like he's in a church, and the next song it sounds like it's just a small plate, So,
and I feel too, you're serving the artist better because you're not treating them, necessarily like this band or this person.
Drive-through engineering, microwave engineering.
Yeah, you're starting from scratch. You're paying paying every attention to
But
detail.
you have to with the song. Every song is different, even though it's the same person. The emotion could be completely different. Where it may call for a different reverb, it may call for different EQ, it may call for different compression. Somebody could be yelling one song and then whispering the next. That's totally going to change how you're going to EQ and compress.
Exactly.
So now that we're talking about templates, and we kind of touched on this earlier, what is your biggest pet peeve as a engineer producer? Like, if you can have 3 when it comes to recording either band or individual, is there something that really grinds your gears? That it doesn't have per se have to be with you, but it could be like just dealing with the clients. Like, this is a big no in my studio. You can't do this.
I don't know. I'm pretty easygoing. I mean, I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but like sometimes they want to record with all the lights off and stuff, which is cool. Like, say, like specifically like a vocalist, and I understand, like, they want the vibe, they want that, but they get going like this and stuff, and you get like proximity effect, and I'm like, something I can't see, so to speak, and then maybe like I can't pick it up that well, and then I get home and I'm like, you're having to combat that, so like I'm like always trying to like have some lights on so I can kind of watch them, make sure they're right. The same distance and stuff in between takes. In terms of that's cool. Not much, man. Just respect me, respect the place. Treat me, and I definitely. I know I've seen Joe mention this before, but like some people come in and they want to kind of be a little bossy or something, towards the engineer, and we're on the same team. I'm here to help you. Let's just work together. No need to be like that.
Yeah, no, that's a big no. Big no for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, man.
Joe loves it when they call him 15 minutes before they're going to cancel.
If we want to get into stuff like that,
they won't cancel because I got that money.
I could talk all day and stuff like that, but or they want to record, they want to come record, but I don't let them smoke in in the studio. So then no, I don't want to come record with you then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I give people that too, but I get that same day stuff. The only times I've done same day sessions,
right? People
have come in. I'm gonna just freestyle this. Then why'd you need to get in today?
Right.
You didn't have nothing written. You didn't have nothing like.
Or the same day thing. I don't. I mean, like you said, maybe a couple times because it just
I mean, there's been times I was like sitting here. I was done by 4. I was like, I'm gonna go home, but. Shoot, this guy's paying double. All right, let me take a couple hours. And it's like, okay, this guy must need to get something done. He comes in, like, spends the first 30 minutes in the garage smoking weed, and comes in, like, I ain't got nothing written. Let me just go see what happens. It's like,
whatever, we're on your time.
And that's the thing. People are like, who cares? You're getting paid. But at the same time, it's like,
it ain't about that.
It's not about that. Like,
money's nice, but
I want to make songs. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I feel like you're treating me like I'm a clown. Like, I'm just here for your amusement. Like, just sit here, shut up, and hit record. Like, nah, man, I want to make stuff good. I want you to use my skills. Like, we're no dummies.
Make it sound good,
right? Yeah. Let's do it right. At least that's my 2 cents. I know there's 100%. people out there that are willing to get that money and whatnot, and I ain't mad at them. Get your money.
Yeah.
If people are willing to spend that money, get it.
That's the thing. Their buddy Johnny, he might be able to bring you over to his home studio real quick and knock out a song real fast. And I mean, if that's what you want, then that's where you go. But if you're gonna come in, to a high profile studio, you got to pay and we know what we're doing.
Right. Come to get work done. That's it.
That's right, man.
You don't bring your cousin to your job. Don't bring your cousin here.
Shadow Day.
Your whole family.
Shadow who?
Shadow Day.
Oh, Shadow Day.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I forgot. But yeah, man, that definitely happens a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of good and a lot of bad, but yeah, I mean, anything that you have to, closing remarks or anything that you have to say about or advice you would give engineers, up and coming engineers, up and coming artists, anything like that.
Up and coming artists, kind of what I was going to say, actually branching off what we were just talking about is, invest in yourself. I know, time is money, and if it costs a little more to get a better product, I mean, in the end, it's in the best interest of you as an artist and your outcome of the final product. I can't stress that enough. It's like, yeah, you might have to spend extra, but just do it, and go to the right people, and it'll get done, and it'll sound good. Yeah. For upcoming engineers, I know it's a tough business. And it's tough to get started. It's tough to get your foot in somewhere, or like get the equipment you might want, or whatever you think you need, or get a space. But just do what you can. It's a lot about networking. Just hit people up. Try to if you got to do some stuff for free, you got to do some stuff for free. Yep. Or if you got to do it for cheaper than the next guy, just to get your foot in the door, and just building relations with the artists, whomever. Just do whatever you can, just to get the ball rolling, and hard work pays off over time.
Yep.
So you might not see it in a week or a day or a month or a year, but if you keep at it and you just keep pushing, it'll pay off.
Yeah, definitely. No, anything worth having shouldn't pay off in a day.
Yeah,
right?
It shouldn't come easy, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't. No, anything worth having doesn't come easy. I know that's
100%,
man.
100%.
Whether it's a job, a relationship, anything like that comes with hard work.
Yeah, Kyle. I know, just for the viewers that are here, and people are asking questions, is there any work that you've done recently that you've released, or you helped and you produced, or you've played in, mix and mastered, that we can let the audience know so they can go hear your music?
I have a lot of stuff in the works, especially because of COVID and stuff, and just stuff not getting released. But of my just like the one song you can find on my page, I got that, and I got a couple other things coming out soon. But yeah, really, just right now, if you're just going on like Instagram or Facebook, and just check out on there, and just follow me, and just keep up with me on there, and I put everything on there, so they'll be able to check all that out. And I'm always posting stuff, so.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah. So that about does it, man. We appreciate you coming out, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Always love talking shop, man.
Oh, man.
I could talk about this for
hours.
Go
for days.
Yeah.
I could. Well, absolutely.
Hopefully, no. I mean, we had some good content today.
We'll have a round 2 sometime.
Yeah. No, definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely chop it and talk more. Again, for those who are viewing and are still watching or watching this later, thank you again for tuning in. Please subscribe to Military Studio on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Click on that little bell. Make sure that you're following every content that we're coming out. We thank you again for our guest that called in earlier, Travis Life, entertainment attorney that we had, and engineer, producer, and now friend Kyle Ritter here, of mine, not of Joe's. He's been known for Joe's. Thank you for coming out today and talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, you guys again. We'll we'll have this posted on YouTube shortly, so you guys can check it out. But yeah, you guys have a good night. Appreciate you guys. Peace.
Peace.
Appreciate it. Thanks.